What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, coach of your Montreal Milotic, bringing you another draft analysis for this time Pack, the Pokemon All-Star competition. This is going to be a upload league, of course, that's why it's on the channel, duh. But it's going to be Sword and Shield once more, and we have a team that is very different than what we are usually using, with the Pokemon that I personally think is dog shit. And that's going to be the second straight league I'm using that Pokemon in. Or not that Pokemon, but second straight league I'm using a Pokemon like that in. And we'll just go ahead and jump into it. This is a budget of 120 points. We had, I believe it was the last pick in the draft, or it was like the third to last pick in the draft. So basically a wheel, which is not bad at all. And like I said, we're using a Pokemon that I have not used since Gen 7, maybe even Gen 6. And we're using another Pokemon that I've never used before, a couple of them that I've never used before, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. So let's go ahead and jump into it, starting off with our very first Mon, and honestly, I was a little surprised that this was able to get to me, but at the same time, I'm not really surprised. And I had like a ton of options. I could go like Aegislash and Kyurem. There was what else? There was Victini available, but I ended up going with Landorus as my first pick. And the reason I went with Landorus here instead of anything else was because I had never used it before in this generation. And I felt like having a good U-turn core was going to be really imperative to what I wanted to do for the success of my team. I have Victini in another league, so I'm not going to go ahead and grab that. I've used basically the Zygarde already, and all the other good stuff that I really wanted was gone. So there was really no point. I was really hoping and praying to get Zera, but it just wasn't in the cards for us. Landorus has like 91 base speed, really good move pool, Earthquake, Knockoff, U-turn, Rock moves, has access to decent special coverage as well. It's amazingly, it's a really good physical wall breaker with Swords Dance. It can sweep with Rock Polish. It's an amazing Scarfer. It can do so many different things. It's really good defensively, has fantastic defensive typing. Being immune to 2 types in ground and to electric is really nice. Unfortunately, it does have that 4 times weakness to ice, so we have to play around that a little bit. But the good news is I have a team that, in my opinion, is not super weak to ice. So we'll go ahead and see what we can do with that. Moving on to our next one, I again 18 points, top of the totem pole. I think there was like maybe Dragapult and like Urshifu Single Strike were 19 points if I'm not mistaken, but everything else was around that range. And I'm happy with the point total for it. Just not thrilled about it. I don't think it's a top 10 Mon, but I had outside of a top 10 pick, so it makes sense I wouldn't get a top 10 Pokemon. Our next Mon though is going to be Kyurem. Now, I really want a Pokemon that was going to be allowing me to break really well and break bulky water as well and bulky grass as well, because Landorus does struggle against those 2 types. So Kyurem definitely does that for me. Kyurem just with Freeze Dry, so strong, 95 base speed is fantastic. I have a really powerful momentum giver to myself with the Landorus, and the rest of my team is able to get momentum really easily. So I felt like having Kyurem, even though it doesn't have that momentum, it's not part of the Volturn core, can really be pressuring a lot of teams. And I've had success with some really offensive dragons in the past. See Garchomp, see Zygarde. So I'm hoping that Kyurem can actually put in a lot of work too. Kyurem being 95 base speed is great. Its defensive typing is not the best. It's kind of forced to run boots some weeks because of its weakness to rocks, but it's so damn powerful with the combination of Freeze Dry or Ice Beam. Earth Power is there. It's got access to Focus Blast, it's got access to Roost. It's super bulky in certain situations. So if my opponent doesn't have like a good fairy type, a good dragon type, or a good, I guess, rock or fighting type, then Kyurem can basically just come in and click buttons and click Roost every single time because it's not going to die to any one hit. So yeah, that's really the epitome of Kyurem. I'm hoping it does well for us. Moving on to our next Mon, it is going to be our Gengar. Now, I haven't used Gengar in a while, and I wanted a good special wall breaker that was fast. I wanted speed on this team, and Gengar definitely provides that. It also destroys fairy types, and the fact that I have Kyurem and Gengar, they really overwhelm steel types together, which is really nice. They are both kind of, well, they kind of checked by steel types in a way, but because I have Focus Blast on both these things and I have both of them in general, they both have ways to really break through steel types, which is good for each other. Obviously, Landorus will break through steel types on its own, but I felt like having Gengar around was really good. And I'll be honest, was this the best pick I could have taken here? No, it wasn't, but I really want to use it, so I said, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this thing. Again, really fast, 110 special speed rather, which is I believe the second fastest Mon on my team. And just the special attack on this thing is incredible. Typing is super solid. Grounded poison type for toxic spikes is very nice. Unfortunately, does not get toxic spikes of its own, but it's okay. Budget at this point, 69. I have, well, first of all, nice. Secondly, I've already used basically half my budget, and I'm only 3 Mons in, and I have 11 Mons on the team, which is kind of crazy. Moving on, our next Mon, I want to have a really good fighting type with momentum to pair with Gengar, so I decided to get Urshifu Rapid Strike. Now, Urshifu Rapid Strike gives me a Pokemon that is a bulky water, again, forces in water types, forces in grass types, and Landorus kind of does the same thing, but Gengar and Kyurem destroy those things, which is super nice because this Pokemon doesn't have to come every week, but it forces momentum, it forces prep, forces Rocky Helmets over something like maybe a Yachi Berry, over maybe something like an Assault Vest, or whatever, just ways to take hits from different threats, and having this Pokemon around as a not defensive, but just a pivot in general is really nice, and I personally believe that Urshifu Rapid Strike is super underutilized and is one of the better mods in Draft League that people just don't really respect as much because it has like this The really big problem with it, as it's getting darker here, which I love because it makes the lighting look better, but it has this really big niche, and people really don't like that you have to run pads on it sometimes. And I find that it's not that big of a deal because your whole point is you're pivoting around. You're forcing your opponent to go into their pads user, whether it's a Tangrowth, whether it's a Milotic, whether it's whatever, and you can then turn around into something else, and you can break it with those Pokemon. So I feel like that's really useful here. So I'm happy to have Urshifu Rapid Strike on the team. 97 base speed. Right now I have a big clump of speed around the 91 to 97 range with Landorus, Kyurem, and Urshifu. But hey, it is what it is. Also, critting every move is so damn good. So I'm going to take that. Really helps break through a lot of the Pokemon I'm going to be setting up, like Iron Defenses or something like that, or Cosmic Powers. So I feel pretty good, again, about my Urshifu Rapid Strike. Our next mon, I want to go ahead and grab, it was Roserade here. Roserade was like 9 points, but it got sniped by Shea like 2 picks before me, so I ended up going with Vikavolt. Yeah, MattOshea with Vikavolt, ha ha ha, very funny. It's Matt with Vikavolt once again. This Pokemon though is fantastic for me. Again, this is a way to break through bulky waters and bulky grasses, which help out a lot with my Urshifu and my Landorus. It also kind of mimics what Gengar and Kyurem can do. But on top of that, it provides webs. And so far, every single Pokemon on my team, outside of Vikavolt, of course, loves web support. They love it. Imagine Kyurem under webs, Gengar with webs, Urshifu with webs, Landorus with, oh my god, they hit so damn hard, and I don't have to run a Jolly Nature, that means, or a Timid Nature. I don't have to run Scarf, I can run Band or Specs or Life Orb or Dual Dance or whatever. I have so many options with that, and Vikavolt's so good. It also gives me a backup ground immunity that is not weak to ice, which is super nice considering that my Landorus is 4 times weak to ice. So yeah, our next mon is going to be our Incineroar. Now, I've never used Incineroar in a draft league setting, at least I'm pretty confident I haven't. In general, it's a decent pivot. It gets Parting Shot, gets U-Turn, which I really like. Knockoff support is great. It's a really good dark type, which means I don't have to get a super good normal type. It's just I can get any normal type and have an answer to Ghost, which is good, but being a fire type as well means it's weak to ground, which does kind of suck, and to water, of course. But my answers to ground, again, I have 2 immunities, which is not bad. My answers to water, again, not terrible. I have a Vikavolt, I have a Kyurem, which should be able to take the hits. I have another defensive water type coming down the line, which is nice. In general, I find that this Pokemon just provides what I want it to, which is going to be more momentum, forcing prep, and gives me some utility, which my team can really use. Being able to just pivot around, get into a situation where something that doesn't want to lose this item has to lose an item is really important for my team, because I have a really fast team so far, and with webs especially, it can be really good. The one downside I have right now is my team has 1 rocker, and that's going to be Landorus, which is not great. So I'm hoping to get more rockers down the line, but at this point we've used basically our entire budget. With 34 points left, we're still missing a couple key types. We're missing a fairy type, we're missing, I guess, a psychic type, we're missing a steel type. There's a couple types we're missing, and we need to make sure we have those roles filled so we can actually have a really solid team. Our next mon is going to be our Whimsicott though. Now, Whimsicott in general, I didn't really want because of the typing. It's a fairy type, which is true, but I kind of had it for the speed. 116 base speed is there, but it's also another defogger, because right now my only defog is the Landorus, which again, I don't want to be forcing that thing to running defog or rocks every week, so I felt like Whimsicott was good. It also gets momentum, which is nice, and Memento in general. Memento as a move is fantastic for me because I can get into a Dual Dance Landorus, I can get into a Nasty Plot Gengar, Scale Shock Kyurem, or just Kyurem in general. Urshifu Rapid Strike is fantastic with Memento up, so it can be a really good Pokemon to kind of open the doors up for me in a late game situation. So really excited to see what we can do with the Prankster, Stun Sporing, Tailwinding, Whimsicott. So yeah, moving on is going to be our Metagross. Now, Metagross is my rocker this season, or my best rocker this season. I have one other one that I'm drafting, but the main reason I wanted was because it is a Steel type, and it is a better Steel type than Bronzong is. It's a better Steel type than Registeel is, and we were debating Registeel or Bronzong with Addison and the rest of the front office, and Addison was like super like focused on get Registeel. It's so good. You can run like Zap Cannon Blunder policy, which is like true, I guess, but not good. Even though I think it won her a game, but it's a good set for her, but not for me. And I felt like Bronzong in general is just, yeah, the immunity to ground or the resistance to fire is really nice, but I felt like having a Pokemon that can put more offensive pressure is really good. So I want to go with Metagross. I've had this Pokemon be the kill leader in a league I won the title for. Or no, did I win the title for that league? No, I came in second in that league. But in general, it's just such a good Pokemon that I find has so much utility. The one downside is the Steel that does not resist Ghost or Dark, weak to Ghost or Dark, which is unfortunate. I do have a really solid Dark type though in Incineroar, so I feel not terrible about it. And my team is, like, I've got a good bulky offense outside of like specifically Gengar to be able to take many hits from many different things, which is good to have. So in general, having this Pokemon is nice. Its speed tier is also something I really need. I need a Pokemon with like 70 base speed, because right now my speed gap goes from Incineroar to a base 91, which is not great. And my next Pokemon does help out with that a lot, but even then, it's not great. So I felt like having this Pokemon with 70 base speed was pretty important to the overall addition of the team. So yeah, Our next mon, again, at this point we have 11 points left, and I'm getting 3 more Pokemon, and our next one is going to be 7 points, being Quillfish. Now, Quillfish I wanted because I wanted Spikes, I want Toxic Spikes. My team forces a lot of switches, a lot. And having Toxic Spikes makes my team so much better. Having Spikes in general makes my team so much better. Also, it gets Intimidate, and it's a bulky water, which my team did not have at this point. Yes, in general, your Shifu is pretty bulky, but also, what if my team has Scald? Nothing. So I want to have at least one Scald user as well to force some prep. But as a whole, Quillfish is super nice and can get some free wins in certain matchups because Spikes are just underprepared for. Because look at my team. My top 6 are incredible. My top 8 are really, really strong. So then I bring Quillfish as my 9th mon and then just bring it in. Set up a Spike or 2, set up a Toxic Spike, maybe click Destiny Bond on something, get a cheeky KO, get Rocky Helmet Chip, Intimidate Shuffle around with Landorus, and I'm in a really good spot. Intimidate Shuffle with Landorus, Incineroar, and Quillfish, and I could be in a really good position. Physical defensive Pokemon, physically offensive Pokemon are going to have a hard time against me because I have triple Intimidate on this team, which is super, super nice. Anyways, this Pokemon also has like 85 base speed, which cuts the speed gap between my Incineroar, my Metagross, and my Landorus, so it's good to know. Next up is going to be Wigglytuff. Now, I have 4 points left, and I want to get Pokemon that kind of like filled some roles. This Pokemon, in theory, gets Teleport. It gets Rocks as well, which is nice. It is a normal type, and it is a better normal type than a couple of the other options. I think Greedent was still on the board, but I wanted this thing because it was a backup fairy, but it also got Rocks. It also got Teleport, it got Momentum, which is nice, and has Frisk as well, which can be really useful in certain situations. So I felt like having Wigglytuff was nice, and I can throw off some really fat wishes, which is super good on a team that has a bit of a problem with recovery in terms of Metagross as a wall, Incineroar as a wall, Landorus as a wall, so it just felt like having some bulky wishes could be nice. It's not going to come to many games, maybe 1 or 2, but again, that's all I really needed for. And then our final mon was going to be Kadabra. Now, Kadabra is 2 points as well. Again, just needed something that was going to be for 2 points, really niche, but could have some level of usefulness. I didn't really need to fill any holes at this point. At this point, I guess the biggest hole I need to fill was like nothing really. There was nothing specific that I need to fill up. Another rocker would have been nice, but I didn't want to go with 10 mons. I felt like having the Kadabra here was going to be much better than going with like a 4 point normal type. Kadabra plus Wigglytuff rather was better than a 4 point normal type. But I really like this Pokemon in general. Has a lot of utility. Sash counter is really good. It's got really good special attacks, like 120 or 125 special attack. It's got 105 base speed, which is nice. Has knockoff support as well. It's something like I really can't switch into something well. I can always have this thing as a sash in the back, which is again super useful to have. But again, probably gonna come to 1, maybe 2 weeks, just because the rest of my team is so damn powerful. So yeah, this is gonna be my team for this season of Pack. I believe upload dates are gonna be on Sundays, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably gonna upload them on Monday because I have 2 leagues going up on Sundays. And I'm not gonna overwhelm you guys with content and on the same day. I want to make sure to get space for that to breathe. But yeah, we're gonna be doing this on the Monday, and that's I guess the point. But yeah, we're going to be jumping into it. I'm hoping that this goes well, so we will see how it goes. But guys, thank you for watching Team Builder. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video. Make sure to comment as well. If you guys want shoutouts in the videos going forward, we have our YouTube channel members, which you can become a channel member for. Speaking of which, I should probably pull up my list to make sure I have everyone shouted out, because again, they are absolute legends for but becoming channel members. It means a lot and helps the channel grow quite a bit, and it just helps support the channel financially by going the extra mile. So I really do appreciate it. So we do have 7 channel members, so shout out to our channel members if I can pull them up. There we go. Our channel members are our level 1s. Shout out to Liv, Eric, Zeke, and Michael Brown, our level 1s. Shout out to Tone, our level 2, and then to Sully and Jay Fuka, our level 3s. If you guys want a one-on-one team building session, you can become a level 3 channel member, and I will be able to build with you in call once a week, or once a month rather, for one of your games. Guys, thank you for watching again. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.